Firearms can be impressive feats of engineering, but sometimes they turn out so bad they serve as reminders of how innovation can fail. Today, we will count down the 20 worst guns ever made. Each had design flaws or reliability issues that shaped their reputations. Let's start with number 20, without delay. 20. Sten Submachine Gun. The British Sten submachine gun emerged during World War II as a cost-effective solution for rapidly arming troops. Designed for mass production with over 4 million units,
do that.
Made its basic simplicity finally introduce significant drawbacks. Sten's design featured a horizontal magazine that stuck out to the left side. While it reduced production effort, this layout made the gun awkward to hold. Also, the magazine was prone to jamming if it was gripped too firmly or if it was struck. Soldiers discovered that even mild damage to the magazine lips caused feeding problems. Another issue was Sten's safety. In some cases, a small jolt or bump could cause an accidental discharge. The open bolt system lacked robust safety features, making accidental shootings a real threat. Also, in dirty or wet conditions, the weapon could fail to fire at critical moments. Sten's notorious jam set the stage. Now, prepare for Cover 41's tangled mechanisms that pushed design failures to a whole new level. Developed during World War II to boost soldiers' firepower, the German Cover 41 was designed with an ambitious gas-driven system. However, major design obstacles soon emerged, undermining its intended performance. One major shortcoming was its complex design, which was expensive and time-consuming to produce. The rifle had intricate parts that demanded skilled labor. In wartime, that meant production bottlenecks and higher costs. Soldiers also found it heavier than expected. The extra weight, combined with its finicky mechanisms, made it hard to carry and maintain in rough settings. Maintenance was another issue. Dirt and debris could choke the system, especially around the muzzle, which contained the gas port. Any fouling there could prevent the action from cycling properly. This forced troops to be extra cautious during battle, where time for cleaning was minimal. Because it had a non-detachable magazine that needed stripper clips, reloading speed was not significantly better than a standard bolt action. That advantage of rapid fire never truly materialized in the field. The German army soon moved on to better rifles, leaving the Cover 41 behind. Today it symbolizes an ambitious but ultimately flawed attempt to modernize frontline guns under intense pressure. Though it paved the way for improved designs later, its shortcomings made it a notorious failure in actual combat scenarios overall. Cover 41's intricate failures leave us unsettled. The Colt 1855 dares to fuse revolver speed with rifle power, but at what risk? Colt 1855 Revolving Rifle. Samuel Colt's innovative attempt to merge revolver speed with rifle accuracy resulted in the 1855 revolving rifle. While the idea sounded promising, the design created serious issues on the firing line. One glaring problem was the gap between the cylinder and the barrel. In a handgun, this gap is far from a shooter's face. With a rifle, that gap was dangerously close to the user's cheek. If hot gases escaped or the cylinder flashed, the shooter could suffer burns or worse injuries. Additionally, any chainfire event where multiple chambers ignited at once would be right beside the operator's head. Handling the rifle was not as simple as a standard muzzleloader or bolt action piece. Soldiers had to be mindful of the cylinder alignment. Misfires or partial rotations could jam the mechanism or cause unexpected discharges. Maintenance also proved complex. Cleaning each chamber and the narrow crevices around the cylinder took more time than many users felt was worth the trouble. Although some shooters appreciated the faster follow-up shots, the safety risks overshadowed any advantage. The U.S. Army purchased a limited number, but feedback revealed the design was too risky for widespread use. Production numbers remained low, and Colt eventually abandoned the concept. This revolving rifle stands as a notable yet flawed attempt to push firearm innovation in the mid-19th century. Even so, it left a mark. Up next, we have a gun with a lot of limitations. 17. Palmetto State Armory 300 Blackout. The Palmetto State Armory 300 Blackout, a firearm that promised modern features on a budget but ultimately revealed significant shortcomings. Developed to bring high-performance qualities to an affordable package, it was marketed as a game-changer in the AR-15 world. However, its design and reliability issues overshadowed its potential benefits. A primary concern was its erratic performance during extended use. Users frequently reported malfunctions such as failure to feed and intermittent misfires that disrupted overall functionality. Cost-cutting measures in its construction meant that several components, including the bolt and barrel assembly, were prone to premature wear and occasional misalignment, which compromised accuracy and consistency, leaving shooters frustrated. The firearm's ergonomics, though modern and visually appealing, did little to compensate for its operational deficiencies. Its lightweight frame and sleek design were attractive on paper, but in practice, the gun struggled with durability under sustained conditions. Routine maintenance and cleaning rarely restore proper function, further eroding confidence in its performance. With the Blackout's constant issues in mind, can the Wesson Specialist modern updates finally give shooters the reliable performance they need? 16. Wesson Specialist. Introducing the Wesson Specialist, a modern twist on the classic 1911 that sought to blend tradition with updated features like a railed frame and improved sights. Yet real-world use often revealed reliability issues. One main concern was its magazine compatibility. Some users reported repeated failures to feed, suggesting that the pistol's tolerances were not as flexible as they should be. This was especially disappointing given its higher price tag, which set expectations for flawless performance. Another drawback was the inconsistent ejection pattern. Brass sometimes struck the shooter, indicating possible extractor or ejector alignment issues. For a gun marketed as a duty-ready pistol, these mishaps caused frustration. Owners spent time tinkering or swapping parts to fix basic functions. Additionally, the Specialist's fine fit and finish, while visually appealing, could introduce break-in periods, tight tolerances that contribute to accuracy, also risk malfunction if parts do not align perfectly. That can be offset by careful maintenance, but not everyone wants a pistol that needs extra babying to run smoothly. Now let's give way to the Taurus TH9, a budget build whose erratic actions leave much to be desired. 15. Taurus TH9. The Taurus TH9, celebrated for its attractive price and modern features, including a rear decocker and double-stack magazine, has proven problematic in practice, with performance issues that have kept it firmly on our list. A big drawback is uneven quality control. Some owners get a TH9 that runs without issues, while others encounter continuous failures to feed or extract. This inconsistency undermines confidence, especially in a firearm aimed at self-defense or duty roles. The double action trigger pull is also quite heavy, making accurate first shots a challenge. Another sticking point is the overall construction. Although it has a polymer frame, the internal components sometimes show signs of poor finishing. Rough edges and inconsistent machining can lead to jams or trigger problems. Shooters who push the gun beyond basic range practice might see accelerated wear. Accuracy can also be hit or miss. A few examples group well, but many struggle to maintain consistent hits beyond close range. This unpredictability forces owners to carefully test each new TH9 and consider upgrades or repairs that may cancel out the initial savings. Taurus has improved some models over time, yet the TH9 remains risky for those who want assured performance. Its low price might fit a tight budget, but the chance of getting a problematic unit is high enough to mark it as a poor choice. That lands it at number 15. Buyer beware with caution. Erratic action in the TH9 makes you question quality. Next, the Sig Fuse emerges with an awkward grip and an unreliable trigger. 14. Sig Fuse. Entering the concealed carry arena with high expectations under the Sig Sauer banner, the Sig Fuse ultimately disappointed many users due to unreliable operation and a grip that felt awkward in use.
So there you go.
One reason for its lackluster performance is the unique grip design. Although Sig attempted to make it slim and compact, the result felt awkward in many hands. This compromised control, especially during recoil. A slippery grip or poor ergonomics can make quick follow-up shots inconsistent. Reliability concerns also appeared. Several owners noted that the fuse jammed or failed to feed different types of ammunition. In a self-defense pistol, that is a serious flaw. No one wants to wonder if their gun will fire when needed most. Instead of consistent functioning, the fuse sometimes required brand-specific ammo to run well. The trigger pull received mixed reviews too. Some found it gritty or vague, lacking the crisp break that SIG fans expect. Basic tasks like field stripping were also more cumbersome than necessary, discouraging routine cleaning. Given these drawbacks, many people lost interest in the fuse. SIG eventually shifted focus to more reliable lines, leaving the fuse overshadowed by better offerings. Although a few owners remain loyal, the model is widely regarded as a miss. That is why the Sig Fuse claims the number 14 spot on this countdown. It promised much but delivered far too little. Don't click away yet, the ultimate disaster in firearm history is coming at the end, and its story will leave you both shocked and amazed. 13. Sig 320. Legion 4 in this refined variant of the popular P320, the Sig 320. Legion 4 boasted enhanced balance, a smoother trigger, and a sleek design. However, its performance, particularly with a suppressor attached, often failed to meet expectations. A key complaint is a failure to cycle reliably with subsonic ammo or when a suppressor is attached. In theory, the 320 Legion 4 should handle that gear without much trouble. However, many reported stovepipes or failure to return to battery, forcing them to switch recoil springs or experiment with different loads. Another concern is overall weight distribution. Some shooters loved the heavier grip module, while others felt it made the pistol nose light. That can affect muzzle flip and tracking targets between shots. If the pistol does not balance well, it becomes harder to shoot quickly and accurately. Maintenance demands also came as a surprise to some users. The Legion series can have tighter tolerances that require more frequent cleaning. Dirt or fouling can lead to malfunctions faster than in standard models. This extra care might be acceptable for a competition pistol, but it contradicts the idea of a reliable service gun. Repeated misfires from the Legion 4 lead us to the Colt 2000, a high-ambition design that ended in recall and regret. 12. Colt 2000. Debuting in the early 1990s as the All-American 2000, this Colt firearm aimed to rival popular polymer-framed pistols. Partially designed by Eugene Stoner, its high ambitions were ultimately marred by execution flaws that hurt Colt's reputation. A key issue was reliability. Many owners experienced failure to extract jams or stovepipes, often occurring right out of the box. A recall followed, which damaged the pistol's reputation further. Instead of a slick competitor, the Colt 2000 soon gained a reputation for being finicky with different ammunition types. Accuracy also disappointed shooters. Some blamed the trigger system, a double-action-only design that felt mushy and imprecise. Instead of a crisp break, users had to manage a long pull that made consistent aim difficult. That design was intended to appeal to fans of simple, hammerless guns, but it alienated many experienced shooters. Materials and build quality were also points of contention. Though the frame was polymer, owners felt the overall fit was subpar compared to other emerging polymer designs. Loose tolerances and rushed assembly may have contributed to the widespread malfunctions. The pistol lasted only a few years on the market from 1991 to 1994 before Colt ended production. By then, its poor record was well known. The Colt 2000 stands as a reminder that even famous names can release flawed products. That is why it takes the 12th position on our list. Its short lifespan cemented its place among failures. After a troubled exit from the Colt 2000, could the compact Type 94 Nambu be even more perilous in action? 11. Type 94 Nambu. Developed in the 1930s for Japanese tank and aircraft crews, the Type 94 Nambu appeared to be an ideal compact sidearm. However, severe design flaws soon emerged, marking it as one of the most problematic service pistols in history. One glaring defect was the exposed sear bar on the left side of the frame. If pressed or jarred, it could fire a round even when the pistol's trigger was not touched. This made the Type 94 dangerously prone to accidental discharges. Wartime conditions with rough handling only increased that risk. The magazine held just 6 rounds. Reloading under stress was cumbersome due to the small grip and awkward release. Many shooters found it difficult to maintain a steady hold, especially given the short barrel and limited sights. Accuracy at anything beyond close range was challenging. Build quality declined further as the war progressed. Late war models sometimes had rough machining, weaker springs, or substandard steel. That made the gun even less reliable. Soldiers who depended on the Type 94 often voiced frustration, complaining about stoppages or random discharges. Time to discuss the Cochran turret revolver, whose unusual vertical design challenges basic safety. 10. Cochran turret revolver. John Cochran's 19th century turret revolver broke with tradition by stacking its chambers vertically, a design intended to bypass Colt's patents. This unconventional layout, however, introduced dangerous risks that ultimately overshadowed its innovative intent. One major danger stemmed from the chamber that always pointed backward toward the shooter. If a chain fire or accidental ignition happened in that chamber, the user could be shot in the hand, arm, or torso. This overshadowed any novelty the design offered, making the gun extremely hazardous. Reloading the turret revolver also proved challenging. Aligning each chamber required care, and if the user mishandled the mechanism, the potential for misfire jumped. Unlike more conventional revolvers of the era, the turret arrangement demanded extra steps and vigilance. These complications made it less appealing to both civilian and military buyers. The gun suffered from poor manufacturing techniques. Precise fitting was crucial for a safe firing sequence. Any misalignment raised the odds of simultaneous discharges. As a result, only a small number of Cochran turret revolvers were produced, and they never gained mainstream acceptance. While some firearms collectors find it fascinating, most historians agree it was a dead-end branch of revolver evolution. Safety is the cornerstone of any firearm design, and this revolver's vertical cylinder arrangement failed that test dramatically. That is why it secures the 10th spot on our list. Its legacy remains cautionary, showcasing how novelty can sometimes backfire. A hazardous vertical layout in the Cochran signals trouble, leading us to Apache Revolver, a multi-tool that confuses more than it conquers. 9. Apache Revolver. From the late 1800s came the Apache Revolver, a unique hybrid that merged a small revolver with a folding knife and brass knuckles. Despite its intimidating appearance, significant design flaws rendered it impractical for real-world use. First, the gun had no barrel. The cylinder's front was open, meaning bullets had minimal velocity and accuracy. In a real confrontation, hitting a target beyond a few feet became doubtful. The lack of a barrel also increased muzzle flash and noise, which could disorient the shooter as much as the target. Second, the folding knife was more of a novelty than a functional blade. It often wobbled and lacked the rigidity needed for serious use. The brass knuckles grip, while menacing, was uncomfortable to hold when firing the revolver. Any recoil transferred straight into the hand, making repeated shots harder. Reloading the Apache was tedious. The cylinder had to be removed, reloaded, and then replaced, slowing down the process in stressful moments. Because of its awkward shape, many owners treated it as a collectible or a last resort weapon rather than a primary defensive tool. If the Apache's hybrid design left you scratching your head, then the FP45 Liberator's disposable concept might just shock you further. 8 FP45 Liberator, crafted during World War II as a disposable single-shot pistol for resistance fighters, the FP45 Liberator was built quickly and inexpensively. Although its concept appeared ingenious, the final product proved to be markedly underwhelming in performance. The Liberator was incredibly simple, made mostly of stamped metal. Reloading took a lot of time because the user had to open the breech, remove the spent casing, and then insert a new round. In a life-or-death situation, that long process could be devastating. The limited capacity of one shot also meant zero margin for error. Accuracy was poor due to the crude sights and very short barrels. It was designed for extremely close-range action, basically point-blank distances. If someone tried to aim beyond a few yards, hitting a target became guesswork. Resistance fighters often preferred captured enemy guns after using the Liberator for an initial ambush. While it had some psychological impact, knowing that local people could be armed, the gun itself was no masterpiece. The rough construction sometimes led to misfires, and the flimsy materials did not stand up well to repeated use. The weapon's intended role was a last resort solution or a tool to acquire better arms. Limited firepower in the Liberator signals decline now. Step into the Gyrojet Pistol, where futuristic rockets fail to deliver close-range power. 7. Gyrojet Pistol. Emerging in the 1960s with the novel concept of firing rocket-propelled ammunition, the Gyrojet Pistol captured imaginations as a rocket gun. Yet its practical performance consistently fell short of the hype, proving its futuristic design to be more fantasy than function. The Gyrojet's rounds needed time to accelerate after leaving the barrel. That meant the muzzle velocity was low at close range, and only once the rocket burned fully did it reach a higher speed. In a typical defensive or combat setting, most engagements happen within short distances, so acceleration time was a major drawback. Another problem was reliability. The rocket-like ammo sometimes failed to ignite or flew off course, missing targets entirely. Quality control for these specialized rounds was expensive, making the ammunition scarce and costly. For a system that depended heavily on well-made ammo, any shortfall led to inconsistent results. The pistol's design also had peculiar recoil characteristics. While recoil was light, the lack of early velocity made immediate stopping power questionable. Users who needed quick follow-up shots found the pistol less effective than standard firearms, which delivered kinetic energy faster. Stick with us, our final weapon's infamous legacy is coming up, and it will redefine what you thought was possible in design failures. 6. Macarov. Known widely as the Macarov, this Soviet-era sidearm became a staple for military forces, but later faced criticism for various performance issues and design inconsistencies. Its once celebrated simplicity eventually gave way to complaints over reliability and overall effectiveness. While many praise the basic Makarov design for simplicity, the specific variants and conditions under which they were made can lead to serious complaints. Some older or poorly maintained models show feeding problems, stiff triggers, or inaccurate shots beyond short range. Ammunition quality also plays a big role. Cheap or inconsistent ammo can jam the gun or reduce its power. Another recurring problem is the modest magazine capacity, typically 8 rounds. While that might have been acceptable decades ago, modern shooters often want more rounds on tap. Reloading quickly can be clumsy if the magazine release or well is not smooth. This shortcoming frustrates users used to newer designs. Ergonomics can also be a sticking point. The Makarov grip is small and sometimes slippery, which might not suit all hand sizes. Recoil can feel snappy because of the blowback action, further complicating control for some shooters. Although diehard fans defend the Makarov's reliability under certain conditions, others have found issues that make it an iffy choice. Uneven performance in the Makarov sets expectations low then. Check out the CZP09C Nocturn, a modern upgrade that falters under real-world pressure. CZP09C Nocturn. Attempting to build on the success of the P07 and P09 models, the CZ-P09C Nocturn featured a sleek design and optics-ready slide aimed at modern shooters. In practice, however, it became known for frequent malfunctions that set it apart from its more reliable predecessors. One major issue involved failure to feed. Some users found that certain grip pressures or ammunition types caused rounds to nosedive or jam. Even though other CZ models tend to have robust reliability, the Nocturne variation seemed susceptible to these hiccups. This was particularly disappointing because the brand had built a loyal fan base around dependability. Another unexpected problem was random stovepipes, especially with lighter loads. While shooters often blame ammo, multiple reports suggested the design might be sensitive to variations in recoil impulse. In a defensive handgun, that's a serious drawback. You want a pistol that cycles everything you feed it within reason. The double-action trigger pull also felt inconsistent between models. Some Nocturne owners reported heavier pulls than they expected from a refined CZ product. Combined with the risk of jams, this made the gun less appealing for those who valued a trustworthy everyday carry piece. Feed failures in the Nocturne take us to the Ross rifle, whose trench-side breakdowns turn precision into peril. 4. Ross rifle. Once praised for its precision among Canadian marksmen, the Ross rifle quickly proved problematic when deployed in the muddy trenches of World War I. Its performance issues in harsh combat conditions turned a once promising design into a glaring example of failure under pressure. One big issue was its sensitivity to dirt. The precise machining that made it accurate also made it prone to jamming whenever mud or debris infiltrated the action. In the harsh, filthy environment of trench warfare, reliability counted for more than pinpoint accuracy, so soldiers cursed the rifle's delicate design. Another hazard involved the bolt. If reassembled incorrectly after cleaning, it could be placed in a position that allowed the bolt to blow back upon firing. This malfunction injured or even killed some users. Although it required a specific mistake to trigger, battlefield conditions made such errors more likely. The rifle's length and weight also became problems in cramped trenches and close-quarters battles. Soldiers needed a robust, maneuverable firearm, but the Ross was long and more suited to static marksmanship than messy engagements. Morale suffered as troops realized they were at a disadvantage. Eventually, the Canadian forces replaced the Ross rifle with the more reliable Lee Enfield. While the Ross retains a niche following among collectors who admire its precision, its wartime failures overshadow that legacy. Thus, it rightfully earns a high spot on this worst guns list. A clogged action in the Ross rifle paints a grim picture, isn't it? 3. Ducksfoot Pistol. Taking the third spot is the Ducksfoot Pistol, an odd firearm with multiple barrels splayed out like a duck's foot. Originally designed for crowd control aboard ships, or in situations where a single shot needed to cover multiple attackers, it looked intimidating but performed poorly in practice. Each barrel aimed in a slightly different direction, supposedly allowing the shooter to hit multiple targets at once. Yet in reality, accuracy was minimal. If an assailant stood beyond close range, the spread of the barrels nearly guaranteed a miss. Worse still, the recoil from firing multiple barrels could twist the pistol in the shooter's hand. Reloading was cumbersome, as each barrel had to be loaded with powder and shot separately. In a tense setting, that slowed down the user. A muzzle-loading multi-barrel approach also introduced more chances for error or accidental discharge. If powder spilled into the wrong area, chain fires could occur, risking injury to the shooter. Another gun, Gerson Witness 2311, struggles to honor its classic roots. 2. Gerson Witness 2311, promising a modern twist on the classic 1911 with double-stack capacity at an attractive price, the Gerson Witness 2311 soon fell short. Users found that its real-world performance and reliability did not live up to the enticing marketing claims. One widespread complaint is reliability. Some owners encountered frequent malfunctions right from the first range session. Failure to feed, failure to eject, and trigger follow issues were reported in multiple reviews. These problems became especially evident when firing rapidly or using certain hollow-point ammunition. The trigger, meant to be one of the biggest advantages of a 1911 design, sometimes felt gritty or inconsistent on the Witness 2311. A crisp break is what draws many shooters to 1911 variants, but the budget manufacturing approach here seemed to undermine that. The accuracy potential also fell short due to loose tolerances and subpar barrel fitting. Build quality raised eyebrows as well. Rough edges, poor finish, and questionable heat treatment of parts suggested corners were cut to hit a lower price. While some owners got lucky with a better assembled unit, many did not. In a crowded market where reliable polymer pistols cost less and perform better, the 2311's draw weakens. The wait is over. Time to discuss the final entry on our list. Chauchat light machine gun, whose wartime failures remain legendary. 1. Chauchat light machine gun. Finally, at number 1, we arrive at the Chauchat light machine gun, a weapon so notorious that it's often cited as the worst automatic firearm in history. Developed by the French in World War I, it was officially the Fusil Mitrailleur Model 1915 CSRG, but most know it simply as the Chauchat. While it offered infantry a portable machine gun option, its flaws overshadowed any advantage. One major problem was the open-sided magazine, which allowed mud and dirt to enter easily. This caused frequent jams on the front lines where muddy trenches were the norm. The Chauchat's construction also left much to be desired, with many parts stamped or poorly welded. Inconsistent quality control meant some guns worked better than others, but reliability was never its strong suit. The recoil-operated design produced rough kickback, making it hard to keep on target during sustained fire. Overheating, warping parts, and jammed magazines further eroded soldier confidence. The US military adopted a version chambered in .306, but mismatched specs made it even more problematic than the French 8mm variant. That concludes our countdown of the 20 worst guns ever made. From poor designs to unreliable performance, each story reveals the importance of careful engineering. Let us know which one surprised you the most. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share more firearm facts and history.